Hello and welcome to Strategic News International. I am Nitin Gokhale. In the last 1 month or so, the government has announced a major revamp of the national security architecture. It has not only added a couple of new appointments, but has also rejigged one important association or a body of important appointments to give advice to the government on comprehensive national security. How has that panned out, and what does it mean for the national security structure going forward is what I'm going to explain in brief to all our viewers. Basically, what they have done is the National Security Advisor is at the apex of the national security architecture, which he always was, but he's got more powers and more responsibilities given to him by the government. First up, he's got two additional deputy NSAs. There used to be one deputy NSA earlier as his number 2 in the National Security Secretariat, National Security Council Secretariat, but now you have 3 deputy NSAs, essentially dividing the work along the different domains. So the first Deputy National Security Advisor, Rajinder Khanna, will look after technical and foreign intelligence. He used to be a former chief of the RANW, the Research and Analysis Wing. The second Deputy NSA, Pankaj Saran, diplomat who is about to retire from the Indian Foreign Service in November, but will continue as Deputy NSA, will look after the external affairs or the foreign relations. And the third Deputy NSA, R.N. Ravi, a former IB Intelligence Bureau officer, who was also chairman of the Joint Intelligence Committee, has been redesignated as Deputy NSA and will look after internal security. So this is expanded. And there is an additional reintroduction of another post which was lying vacant since 2014, and that is one step below these 3 is the military advisor to the Nscs. This military advisor, the first military advisor was there between 2011 and 2014, but since 2014 till middle of October this year, there was no military advisor. But now retired Lieutenant General V.G. Khandare, who was DG or Director General Defence Intelligence Agency in the Ministry of Defence, has been appointed as military advisor to the Nscs. The NSA has this National Security Council Secretariat to advise him and give him secretarial assistance for all matters of national security. This is what the revamp broadly has happened as far as the Nscs is concerned. This one, Nscs, also parallelly, the NSA is now the chairman of something called the Strategic Policy Group. Now this is a major change. The Strategic Policy Group has been in existence since April 1999, but earlier this used to be headed by the Cabinet Secretary, and there were members in that SPG, which was like the Army Chief, the Navy Chief, the Air Force Chief, the RBI Governor, and number of secretaries of different ministries like the Ministry of Defence, Home, Finance. Those kind of people were there. All those members remain members of the SPG, the reconstituted SPG, except the fact that today the NSA is now the chairman of the SPG instead of the Cabinet Secretary, and the Cabinet Secretary in turn becomes a member of the SPG. One additional member has been appointed or been brought into the SPG, and that is the Vice Chairman of the Niti Aayog for planning purposes and also giving inputs on various other aspects of governance. So the SPG now has a wider ambit, and the Cabinet Secretary will now be made responsible for coordinating and implementing the policies that would be decided by the SPG, who in turn will give advice to something called the Cabinet Committee on Security. The Cabinet Committee on Security is the apex security body in this country, headed by the Prime Minister and consisting of 4 top ministers: Minister of Defense, Minister of Finance, and Minister of Home Affairs. So that means essentially under the Modi government, the Prime Minister heads the CCS. Arun Jaitley, Rajnath Singh, Nirmala Sitharaman, and of course the External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj are the members of the CCS. So CCS will get now advice from SPG as well as from the NSCS, and the NSA will in turn hold concurrent charge of being the chairman of the SPG as well as heading the NSCS. He in turn will get advice from 3 deputy NSAs, 1 military advisor, and of course an expanded NSCS. Till 2016, the NSCS budget was to the tune of about 30 crores. Since then, for the current financial year, it has come to something like 303 crores. In between, it had risen to 333 crores. And it is likely to go up further when the next year's budget comes, because now they've got an expanded mandate to look at national security in a much more holistic and a comprehensive manner. This way, the national security strategy, the defense doctrine, and matters of cyber security, space, as well as the armed forces will be looked after and coordinated by the NSCS under the overall supervision of the National Security Advisor. He is the National Security Advisor to the Prime Minister, and therefore has got a wider ambit than any other National Security Advisor before him, except perhaps Brijesh Mishra, who was India's first National Security Advisor, and concurrently the Principal Secretary to Prime Minister Vajpayee. All this was mandated in the Kargil Review Committee and followed by the Group of Ministers report, which was published in 2001. It has taken that long, but as they say, it's better late than never. India's national security architecture is not only has been revamped, but is also now being strengthened with wider mandate, wider powers, and a larger budget. Where it all leads and how the coordination and the total review of national security architecture comes in, and what are the other improvements that come into the structure, we'll have to wait and watch. But right now, this is something that has been done after a deliberate study and a lot of discussions between different stakeholders. This is what is the current state of affairs as far as national security is concerned. We will wait and watch how it goes further. Until then, this is Nitin Gokhale signing off for Strategic News International.